Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm delighted to welcome you all to a dedicated info session for the Brown in Bologna program. Can you all hear me okay before we get into the weeds? Terrific. All right. My name's Chris Van Boven. I'm an assistant director of global programs here at Brown University, and I'm delighted to chat with you all today about the Brown in Bologna program. And so the goal of this session is going to be to give prospective applicants and any study abroad advisors who happen to be in attendance an overview of the key aspects of the program, and then an opportunity to give folks a chance to ask any specific questions that you might have. A bit of housekeeping: this info session is recorded, so we'll ask that you please hold any questions that you have until the end, and then we'll go ahead and we'll stop the recording at the end once the Q&A begins. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started now. We're grateful to be joined here by a few key folks, beginning with Anna Maria, who is our on-site director. She's tuning in real time from Bologna, so really grateful to have her here. And also really wonderful that we have actually a former student that's joining us to share his experiences on the program. Daniel, we're really grateful to have you here. Thank you so much. Not able to join us here in real time, but an important part of the on-site crew is Adam, who serves as the program coordinator. So you'll be getting to know him very well as you work your way through the program. My name again is Chris. I will be working with folks primarily from the point of acceptance on, so sort of pre-departure, helping guide students through the visa. I'm the sort of main point of contact for any visiting students who are sort of, again, non-Brown students interested in applying to the program. So you can reach out to me anytime with questions. Also want to make a point of mentioning for any Brown students who are tuning in, a really important contact for you is going to be Lynn Kavicki, who is the dedicated study abroad advisor for Brown students interested in studying abroad in Italy in general and in Brown and Bologna in particular. So again, feel free to reach out to her with any questions around academic advising, the application process, and so on. Wonderful. Okay, so want to start with just kind of a high-level overview of what the program is all about. Again, it's a really special program. I'm really happy to be having an opportunity to chat with you all about it today. And so the first thing that I'll say is just that, again, to make clear, Italy is, as you I'm sure are likely aware, it's one of the most popular study abroad destinations in the world. But I think it's fair to say that in a majority of cases, what you get is a study abroad program. Let's say you're in Florence or in Rome. You got a group of American students who are in an American center, and you're taking all of your classes in English. And so the question here is, do you get some exposure to the local language? Sure. Do you have opportunities to connect with things that are going on in your local context in the city? Absolutely. But at the same time, you're sort of experiencing the language and culture from the outside in, kind of within this sort of protected bubble of your American center. And so with the Brown in Bologna program, what we do is we try to turn that paradigm on its head. If you were to sort of distill the overall goal of the program, the ethos of the program to a single word, it's integration. The goal is to integrate you all as meaningful as possible into the local language and culture. And so it's really designed to provide participants with an experience of total linguistic and cultural immersion. And among the most important ways that we accomplish that is by direct enrolling students at a local Italian university. And so folks participating on the program take all of their coursework in the local language, so taught in Italian by local Italian faculty members. And so what makes this program really special, though, is that, we're not throwing y'all into the lion's den alone. You have the benefit of an extremely dedicated 24/7 on-site support staff in the form of Anna Maria, the director, and Adam, the program coordinator, who are there to guide you through that experience every step of the way. And again, in the spirit of sort of high-level overview here, there are a few different terms that are available to applicants. We offer a fall semester program, a spring semester program, and for those who are interested, actually a full year academic year program that runs from September to May. For those of you who are interested in taking the language to advance proficiency, obviously the more time that you have in country, the better positioned you are to be able to accomplish that goal. The dates that you have here, just to be clear, are tentative, but we wanted to give you all an idea of what is likely to be the approximate range of dates. Okay. So again, what you can expect from this presentation today, we'll talk about the program location, the partner institutions that we work with to deliver our coursework, academics, the cultural activities and trips that form part of the program, housing, and then, of course, assuming by that point that we'll have convinced you to move on to submitting an application, the sort of key next steps. Okay, so program location. This is one of my favorite things about the program. So it's located in the capital of the region Emilia-Romagna. It is the 7th most populous city in Italy. But what I really like about it are a couple of things. So the first is just beginning with the population. As you can see, it's around 400,000 people. And what I think is great about this is that it's plenty big enough to where you've got no shortage of things to do. You'll never find yourself bored by any stretch of the imagination. But it's also the kind of place that, relative to other locations where you might have programs, say a Florence or a Rome or something like that, it's small enough to where in the course of particular, let's say a semester program, you can really get to know it well. And that's something that, again, particularly for folks who are coming to learn the language and integrate themselves, it's nice to have it be a sort of a more manageably sized city. On that note, though, what's nice is if you look here, you can see, though, if you are interested in some of these other places, so let's say, again, Florence, Milan, Venice, Rome, these kinds of cities, you are really close to each of these places. So it's straightforward enough to just hop on a train and be there. In some cases, within a half an hour. And so what's wonderful is that, you get to kind of have the best of both worlds in that you can go and explore these places and then come back and sort of hang your hat in Bologna. And again, one of the things that's nice about it, in addition to the sort of the population consideration there, is also that relative to a place like, let's say a Florence or a Rome, where you have a huge presence of English-speaking, tourists, Bologna has, as you'll discover shortly, no shortage of fascinating sites of cultural interest in its own right, but it just doesn't have the same level of English-speaking tourists that some of these other places is. So again, in that spirit of integration, it's a wonderful place for a language immersive study abroad program. It has an incredibly rich and long and complicated history, beginning originally as an Etruscan settlement around 1000 BCE, before later becoming a Roman colony, Bologna, and around 189 BCE. And you can see that that Roman influence throughout the city, and I'm sure Anna Maria will talk a little bit more about as we move through the presentation. Okay, so again, in the interest of kind of giving you all a little bit more of a visual experience of the program, we're going to play a short video that is designed to kind of give you a taste of Bologna. Wonderful. And apologies, I've heard from some that maybe the audio wasn't coming through there, but hopefully those images will give you a little bit of a sense of what you can expect in the city of Bologna. And so with that, I thought it would be helpful to turn things over to Anna Maria, who will be talking you through some of the key aspects of where you're going to be studying abroad. So Anna Maria, take it away.
Yes. Thank you very much, Chris. So it's first of all my pleasure to be here. And I'm very proud to be the director of this program because I really believe that we are unique and we have a lot to offer through this program. And first of all, we have to offer Bologna. Bologna is a very special town in Italy, as Chris has already said. And yes, it is known because of its education, cuisine, history, and architecture. Bologna is known as La Dotta. La Dotta means that the learned, because in Bologna there is the oldest university of the Western world. And this is not something that is nice to know and is it. There are consequences because since the Middle Ages, Bologna is a town that is welcoming all the students coming from all over Italy, but also from all over the world. And this means that Bologna is a home for our students. They really don't think that they are apart. No, there are not layers. The citizen in Bologna and then the students. The students are Bolognese. They are the main protagonist of the life of this town. And this makes all difference in the experience that the students may have living in Italy. And so in a moment, they become really very, very proud of being part of this town and the story of this very prestigious university. The food is also one of the aspects that allows Bologna to be renowned all over the world. And in fact, it is known as la grassa, that means the fat. Because here in Bologna, we have, of course, the tagliatelle bolognese, but also the lasagna, but also the tortellini and the prosciutto and the parmigiano. What does it mean? It means that Bologna is at the center of a very important aspect of Italian culture, that is food. Food is not only something that you eat, but is part of the history of this country. It's a very important component because food incorporates a big amount of culture, history, and tradition. And in Bologna, food is a central part of its story, its history. That's why the town is renowned all over the world also for its food tradition. And then history and architecture. Of course, the third nickname of Bologna is La Rossa, the red. For many reasons. First of all, because Bologna is a color, and this color is red, orange. This, to me, is also something that tells us something about Bologna characters, a very strong one, but also open. Bologna is a very welcoming town. And also it relates to the history of Bologna. We know that Bologna is renowned, at least in Italy, for being the most important town that was governed by the Communist Party after the World War II. And it was, in fact, the most beautiful town where you could have lived in this year, the 50s, the 60s, but also the 70s. And still today, Bologna is a town that is really very, pay a great amount of attention to the needs of its population. And this has a big impact on the quality of the life that you may experience here in Bologna. So briefly, Bologna is a very special town, and even if it is not so gorgeous, at least at the beginning, like other towns in Italy, there is a lot to discover, and it is a pleasure living here, especially for students. Next.
And actually, on that note, I thought this would be a helpful place for Daniel to chime in. If you could share, Daniel, just your perspective on the city of Bologna as a place to live and to study as a student.
Sure. So I did the BROWN in Bologna program in spring of 2022 after I spent a semester in Rome. So I know that Anna Maria and Chris were talking about, Bologna with respect to living in a bigger, maybe more popular, maybe more known city like Rome or like Florence. But I think the beautiful thing about Bologna is, given that it is smaller, it feels, like an easier place to live in. I know when I lived in Rome, there were a lot of things that I took for granted because I was like, oh, I'm always by the Colosseum, I'm always by the Trevi Fountain. And you don't have that kind of thing in Bologna, but you're close enough where you can visit those bigger cities, with ease within an hour or 2 hours by train. So just quickly, that's one thing that I appreciate about Bologna, is that it isn't so, congested. So it feels more homey, and it's easier to feel integrated into the community and into the city.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, and if I may add just a very quick note, just to give you some numbers. In Florence, you are living a very Italian experience. In Florence, there is an average of 15,000, 18,000 American students per semester. In Bologna, there are 5 American programs, and we have put together a total of 150 American students. So as you can see, just simply looking closely to the numbers, the experience that you may have living in Bologna is completely different compared to the experience that you may have in other locations in Italy.
Very helpful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Yes, so we were talking just a little bit of the University of Bologna. It's a very big one. There are more than 90,000 students, 11 schools, many options within each school. If you take classes at the School of Humanities, there are many possibilities to study literature, history, anthropology, archaeology, etc., etc. It is founded in 1088. It is the oldest university in the Western world. And again, this makes a huge difference in the sense that you can feel the tradition, and you can feel that, again, as a student, this is your place, as it was the place of very important alumni like Dante, Petrarch, Copernicus, and many others. Yes, as I was telling you before, our students can take classes in all the schools of the University of Bologna, but the medical school and the law school. But they can take classes at each year. That is, there are the laurea triennale and laurea magistrale, so 5 years in a total. And they can take classes in each of these years, the first, the second, the third, etc., etc. And also in all the different schools. So the academic offer at the University of Bologna for our students is really huge.
Awesome. And Daniel, I thought this would, of course, be a wonderful place to hear from you about your perspective, as I think that that often when students are trying to imagine themselves in this space, it's the university setting that maybe they have the most sort of questions and possibly, doubts, anxieties about. So would love to hear what your experience was navigating academic life at the University of Bologna.
Sure. Sorry, my washing machine is going, so if it's loud and you can't hear me, I'll try to speak up. But I figured you would ask me this question, so I prepared an answer. But I think in the most beautiful way, coming to Bologna, coming to the University of Bologna is like being a first year all over again. And I mean that in a good way, in the sense that, you're in a new place, you might be, are not going to understand everything in the first couple of days. You're not going to know where you're going. But I thought it was nice, I went to Duke in undergrad. So for 3 years, I was, used to knowing everything, knowing everyone, but it kind of gets, non so come si dica in inglese, but stufo, in a sense, how do you say stufo in English? Like tired. You kind of get tired of the same thing over and over again. So I kind of appreciated that at the University of Bologna. Like Anna Marie was saying, you can take the triennale classes, so the undergraduate classes, or magistrale master's classes. So even if you want to, challenge yourself even more, there's that opportunity. That's what I did. I chose to take 3 master's level classes. And like I said, the first week or so, I didn't really know what was going on. I was late, a lot because I couldn't figure out the bus system. But, as time goes on, as the semester goes on, you get more acclimated and you start to feel, part of the university community and part of the city community as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You can see the program works so well that you actually will forget English. That's awesome.
Okay, the other institution where our students can take classes is the Accademia di Belle Arti, Fine Arts Academy. And it is located in the same university area of the University of Bologna, so very centrally located. And our students can take classes of painting, as sculpture, photography, graphic design, etc., etc. The only requirement is that they are required to bring with them a portfolio, because Italian students can access the Fine Arts Academy after a kind of exam. But this will not be the case of our students. So if they would like to take a class, they should show what they have been doing during the previous year, I don't know, during the high school or the college. It is a very nice experience because it allows you to, I don't know, to enter in a system that is quite different from that of the University of Bologna. Next. Yes, because Daniel didn't take classes at the Fine Arts Academy, so we will not ask you for your feedback. Okay, the academic part. The semester is split into two parts. The first one, from the academic point of view, we offer a pro-seminar that we have called Pro-Seminar in Italian Language and Culture. And this is the equivalent of one Brown course credit. And the second part are the courses that our students will be taking at the partner university, that is the University of Bologna or the Fine Arts Academy. And we ask them to take courses that are the equivalent of 3 Brown course credits. Okay, let's talk a little bit of the pro-seminar. I am the instructor of the pro-seminar. I'm not the only one, because the pro-seminar is split into 2 main parts. The first one takes place during the orientation period. The orientation period is the period that goes from the arrival of the students in Bologna. And for 3 weeks, students will be doing a bunch of the activities with the program in order to allow them to get acquainted to the new life, the new language, the new culture, the new town, okay? So during these first 3 weeks, they will also be taking classes, language classes that will be offered by the program. So in this case, I will not teach these language classes, but there will be some other instructors. And during these first 3 weeks, we will organize a lot of other activities. Not only there will be orientation on academic, logistics, health and safety, whatever, but also a lot of guided tours in the most important museum of Bologna. And we will be organizing also a couple of field trips in the main towns of the Emilia-Romagna region. And this will be the first part of the pro-seminar, but there will be also another part that will start immediately after the orientation period. That is when our students will start taking classes at the University of Bologna or at the Fine Arts Academy. And this will be the class that I will teach. We will meet once a week, 2 hours, and we will explore contemporary Italy, but not only, also Bologna. We will use Bologna as a case study in order to understand, to try to understand, because it is not easy, this culture and this country. And a very special feature of the pro-seminar is the fact that our students are matched with some Italian students. They are language partner. These students, again, or take classes at Unibo or at the Fine Arts Academy. And this is, I'm sure, one of the aspects of the program that the students like more, the fact that the possibility that they have to have a special friend since the first day of the program. So they arrive the day after they meet this student, and this student introduces our students to the practical, academic, and social life in Bologna, other than allowing them to practice the language. And this is extremely important because it's a kind of key that allows our student to really be in touch, get the access to the life in Bologna and in Italy. This whole bunch of activities gives to our students 1 Brown course credit that is 8 ECTS. We use the European credit transfer system. 8 ECTS equal 1 Brown credit. Next, okay, thank you. And then our students, after the first 3 weeks of the orientation, they take classes at Unibo or the Fine Arts Academy. Yes, it is evident. The instructors are local faculty, they are Italian, and they teach in Italian. And this is an aspect that we didn't underline, but it is extremely important to remember that we deliver the program only and exclusively in Italian. And this is not a small detail because I've been working with the BROWN in Bologna since 2011, but before I had other experience with other programs in Italy. And I can tell you that, yes, Chris is absolutely right when he says that, when he was underlining the uniqueness of our program, because usually the most important, the prevalent language is English. So usually in the other programs, students speak Italian during the language classes, and that's it. But this is not the case for our program, and this makes a very big difference. The number of courses that our students take at the University of Bologna can be from 2 to 3, because we ask the students to take a number of credit that is between 24 and 27. And these may, since they will be taking, they are allowed to take classes in all the different schools of the University of Bologna, and each school gives a different number of credit for a semester-long course. That's why we say from 24 to 27 total ECTS, and they are equal to 3 Brown course credits. Next. Yes, all the cultural activities and trips that we will be organizing for our students are an essential component of our program. We try to do the majority of the activity during the orientation, because after that we know that the students will become entirely Italian students, in the sense that they will have to adapt to the Italian academic system, and we know that each of them will have different schedule and stuff like this. And we also want that they experience this Italian way of life from an academic point of view. That said, we will be offering our students many cultural activities. For example, some day trips, Ravenna, Ferrara, Parma. We will organize them during the orientation period. The main goal is to allow our students to understand that, again, Italy is not only one, but 1,000, and that even in the same region of Emilia-Romagna, you can discover many different places, really very different from each other. So, for example, Ravenna, Ferrara, Parma, they are renowned, but not so like other most important towns in Italy, and they are really hidden jewels, and it's a pleasure for our students to discover different histories, architectures, also food tradition. Everything changes from a place to another. And then we organize during the second part of the semester a weekend trip to Tuscany. Maybe this semester will be in Piedmont, but we are still working on this new project. And then we organize other activities. For example, we would like to expose our students to a night at the opera, since opera was created in Italy, or concerts or cinema, depending on the cultural offer that we will have during the semester. Next. Okay, and this is our office. It's a very nice one, cozy one, small one, located in the center of the university area. There are 2 offices, one from me and the other one from the program coordinator, 2 rooms. And then this is the library, and students can go and study and take advantage of all the books and also movies that we can share with them. Obviously, there is the Wi-Fi. There are also some computers. They can print some documents if they need. And we have also a wonderful terrace. And we take advantage of this terrace in the nice season, I don't know, April, May, and our students are welcome. They can come, they can eat. We organize some events. It is a very nice place. Next. Okay. Housing. Our students will be living in some residences that houses primarily Italian university students. And this is something that we really strongly wanted. That is, we really would like to give to our students all the possibility to have contacts with Italian life. That's why they share some common space, like, for example, the kitchen with Italian students. They will all be living in single rooms. Again, they will be sharing the kitchen with Italian students. There are also common spaces. The buildings are brand new. They are really wonderful. And yes, it is provided a weekly room cleaning, and it is, I have to say, a very nice part of the experience of living here in Bologna, living in these residences, because they are really very nice.
Okay, thank you so much, Anna Maria. So again, hopefully now by this point, you'll have been utterly convinced that this is your study abroad program of first choice. And so the aim here for this last stretch of the presentation is to guide you through the next steps to submitting an application. And so beginning with eligibility, the aim here is just to make sure that students are in good academic standing at their either at Brown or at their home institution. You need to have declared a concentration or a major by the time that you start your study abroad program. So if you are currently in the process of sorting that out, that's okay. It's just that you need to have declared a major concentration prior to actually going. The idea behind that is we just want to make sure that you're in good stead to complete your program of study, and we have a good plan in place for you prior to going. The most critical of these criteria is this final one, which is, again, because the program is delivered exclusively in Italian, we want to make sure that students have the necessary background in Italian to succeed in that context. And so the Italian language prerequisite for Brown in Bologna is that you must have completed Italian, for those at Brown, Italian 0300, which is essentially third semester college level Italian, or its equivalent, if you're able to demonstrate an equivalent proficiency. For those of you who had some background prior, that is the target, is to have completed the minimum of third semester college level Italian prior to going on the program. If you have questions about that, you can certainly reach out to us at any time. It's a fully online application. And so the application system we're hoping to open up for fall and full year applications sometime this month, towards the middle to end of the month. And once we've opened that application up, you have the following sets of deadlines for the program. So for fall 24 or for full year programs, if you're considering applying for the full year, you have a preferred deadline of February 1st. And then a final deadline of March 1st. And these deadlines are consistent across all Brown and CASA programs, but I want to make a point of emphasizing that for Bologna in particular, where we have internally a need to confirm our housing needs earlier than in some programs. We definitely appreciate those who apply by the preferred deadline, and we actually have something of a rolling admissions process. So for those who are really eager to be sort of among the first to be reviewed for the program, we urgently suggest that you apply by that priority, that preferred deadline of February 1. And again, it's a fully online application. We'll explain that in a minute. For those who might be interested in studying abroad for a future term, let's say spring 25, those applications will be due later on. It'll be in August, September of 2024. So we have basically two streams of applications that we manage. We have those from Brown students and those for visiting students. So those non-Brown students coming from other institutions. So for Brown students, it's straightforward enough. You will apply through Brown's via TRM portal. So you'll log in, you'll create your account per the instructions on the Study Abroad Advising Team's website. And ultimately, you're just going to be searching for the Bologna program that has this specific program name in VIA TRM for Brown students. And so you'll know that you're in the right place, Brown applicants, when you arrived at a program that says Brown students, Brown in Bologna University Studies. For those coming from other institutions, we're going to have you actually submit an application beginning from our global partnerships and programs website. So we have a dedicated program website. I provided a link here. We'll share that out with the presentation. But in essence, here you have specific instructions on our website for visiting students for applying. You'll go to the website. It looks exactly like you have here. You'll find the link for Brown in Bologna. You'll click on that, and then it'll open up a brochure. And you'll know that you're in the right place when you arrive at a brochure that has this title. It'll say Visiting Students, Brown in Bologna University Studies. And then from there, it's simply a matter, there's going to be, when we open up the application system, there's going to be a bright pink button that says apply in the upper right-hand corner. You will click on that. And then it will walk you through clear instructions for submitting an application. The one sort of note here, just to make clear, is that when you are going through that portal visiting students and setting up an application, one thing that has been tricky for students in the past is that you're asked to identify your institution. It's a bit confusing, admittedly. When you are asked to do that, all you have to do is identify Brown University as your institution, and then you continue on through that process. Any questions at all as you're working your way through that process, you're more than welcome to reach out to me personally. Again, I serve as the dedicated advisor for visiting students. Okay, so again, as far as next steps, if you're interested in learning more, you want to educate yourself, you want just to learn more about the application process, et cetera, et cetera. For Brown students, your main point of contact is going to be Lynn Kavicki. For visiting students and non-Brown students, you're welcome to reach out to me directly. We have a wealth of information as well on our official Brown in Bologna website, and we encourage you to explore. I want to give Anna Maria and also Daniel an opportunity to share any sort of final thoughts before we open things up to the general Q&A, because I'll be stopping the recording just prior. So maybe beginning with Daniel. Daniel, do you have any parting insights that you'd want to share for folks who are considering this program?
Bologna is fantastic. Brown in Bologna is fantastic. I came back to do a master's degree. I wouldn't be here for another 2 years if I didn't enjoy Bologna, and I don't think I would have enjoyed Bologna as much if I hadn't done this program. So I'll just stop there, and then if there are any questions later, I'll do my best to answer.
And Anna Maria, any final thoughts before we open things up to a general Q&A?
No, my final thought is, since I've been working for this program since 2011, I know that this is a very important experience for our students. And so it is challenging, but it is extremely transformative and rewarding, and is a unique one. And they really know that when they are here, they are privileged and very lucky. And so I really think that this is a wonderful opportunity to really, go through the experience of diversity. And I think that we really need this kind of experience, particularly in the moments that we are living all together.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And again, for those tuning in, please know that we'll be posting this recording to our Brown in Bologna website. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording there and open things